everyone, welcome to part 2 of the Buzzy Bee animation tutorial. This lesson we're going to make our sprite bee fly over a field of flowers using motion guides. Okay, so let's animate. Right, so welcome back everyone. I'm looking on Google for a field of flowers. Now we're going to use this to put behind our Buzzy Bee sprite. If you've got your own photograph of some flowers or a lovely image, you can use that. And if you were using this commercially, you wouldn't be able to use stock photos like this. But we're doing it just for practice. So I've downloaded this one here. There it is. Okay, and I've got my buzzer flash there. That was my original or flash file that we did in the last lesson. So I'm going to my applications. It's maybe different if you're on a PC, and I'm going to open up Adobe Animate. So we're going to start a new full HD. There is our stage. We're going to call this flowers because we're going to use this as our background. So we're going to import to stage rather than library. If I did library, it would go over here. If I import to stage, I can then easily find the image there. You can see it comes in quite small, and then using the transform tool here, I'm going to stretch this out to fit my image. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to lock that now. You can see there's a little lock there. That means I can't do anything to the background, and that is the background. Then I'm going to place a new layer on. This is layer 2. And we could do this as B1. Now there's no B in there at this moment in time, so I need to open up my previous file, the buzzer. There he is. And there's the B from our previous project. There he is. If we double click on him, you can go inside, you can see that he waggles his wings there. Okay, and that's the frame rate. I might be interested in changing some of the frame rates in that, but a little later we'll look at that if you want to do that. So I'm going back to Untitled 1. You can see here which is our field, and we want to be able to put this B here that we've done into this scene. Okay, so we need to look in our library, which is this little one here, and if you click down there, you can see we've got buzzer flash. If I click on that, you can see now here is the symbol for the bee. Okay, so now I'm on B layer, I can drag this B symbol onto here and close that down, and now our B is on top of our artwork. Now he looks very big. I don't want him this big, so I'm going to reduce his size. Do all this first before you start messing around, because if you do it halfway through a process, you might find that he will change size. So there he is, little B. I'm going to grab my cursor and move him over, just like we did at the end of the last one. All right, we're going to extend our timeline so our bee flies across the scene. Then we'll make him visit some flowers. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'll probably go to about 120 frames, and I'm going to go into by clicking, and you can control click, so you've got both of those, so it does it in one fell swoop, and then insert keyframe. Okay, now nothing's changed, but our timeline moves on. So if we go just into B, obviously our background's locked. We'll put our B over there. And you can see if I just jump there, he jumps. But we're going to go right back to the beginning, and we're going to click on the beginning of the B cycle. We're going to insert a classic tween. Then you can see the arrow comes up, and this is what should happen. He's racing along. He's racing along the horizon there. Now I want to make my bee do some stuff. Right? He's not just going to go along like that. That would be really, really dull and boring. I'm going to right click on my bee, and I'm going to add a classic motion guide. And you can see here that the bee is now subject to whatever control we have with the motion guide here. Okay, all right, so the motion guide is what is going to control the bee. So I'm going to lock the bee for now, and I'm going to go into the motion guide, and I'm going to draw using a red colour I've chosen my pathway for my bee. So I'm going to get into visit certain flowers. So don't loop it, otherwise the computer gets confused and won't be able to sort that out. Now you can see here my bee has almost jumped. Now sometimes you'll find that doesn't happen, but if we go into B and we undo the lock there, you can see that the little circle that's in the center has jumped to there. Now if I go to the end, you can see now he's still going across. So I want to link him in the very final frame here and just put him on like putting a curtain hook onto a curtain rail. So now you can see, because I've linked in at the end, he's attached to the whole guide. Now you can hide that guide and you can play the little bee there bouncing around. Now that's great, I love that, that looks really good, but I'm thinking to myself, let's have him hover there. Okay, so I'm going to go into the B at that point, and I'm going to add a keyframe, and I'm just going to take a few frames here, and I'm just going to add another keyframe there. Okay, so now if we just watch that movement, you can see it stops there. Okay, we'll make it a bit longer. I'm going to click that with a single frame, move it forward, and then you can see he pauses at certain points. So we can make it a bit more exaggerated. Okay, let's have a look at where he goes from there. And there's one right near the end, I think. There, I'm going to get into hover again. So I'm going to click in and insert a keyframe. And right about there, and insert a keyframe. If we turn on we can maybe move him in that keyframe back. So I'm going to grab my grab my bee, move him there, and you can see it kind of bounces on the spot. So now, there he goes. I'm going to add a second bee to this, so I'm going to go above the bee guide, and I'm going to go into another layer. And I'm going to go back to the first frame, and I'm going to put that in. So I need to go to the library here. I can grab the bee. There he is again. Drag a second instance of the bee in. Okay, and there's a second instance of the bee. Okay, now he's very big, so we need to reduce him in size. Okay, if we haven't got that handle, we've got to put those handles on it. And then you can flip him over like that so that he's facing a different direction. And I'm going to go in even closer to make him small. I want him to come in from the other side. So here he is, make him really small. Okay, so we've got a second bee here at the start point. Now I want to put a guide layer on that, so I right click on that and add a classic motion guide. You can see again layer 7 here. We called it layer 7, we should call it B2 really. Let's call it B2. Okay, layer 7 is going to guide our B2. Right, so what we're going to do is we need to go on to our guide layer, not on to our B layer. Make sure you're doing that because that could cock it up. And I'm going to draw my B. A variety of flowers. Now this one's going to be there he goes, and click on there. We've now got our bee. We need to make sure his little hole there, that little circle there, is like a curtain hook. You just kind of hook it on to there. The end of the bee I want to create. So I'm going to the end of the bee layer and I'm going to insert a keyframe. Okay, so there's our keyframe, and we're going to take our bee and I'm going to drag him to the end of the second one. Okay, and I'm going to put on the bee, I'm going to insert a classic tween. So now he should, there we go, follow the path. I want him to pause there, so I'm going to insert a keyframe, and another keyframe to keep him paused. Maybe I'll drag that out a little bit longer. And you can see where he goes off into the distance here. I want him to change size. So I'm going to add another keyframe. And I'm going to zoom in using, I can see him better. Now you can see he's quite big, so I'm going to make him smaller. So at this point, I can reduce his size. Even more. So you can see now he's big there. There we go, small there. And we can carry on. we should expand as well. So I think it kind of clashes there with that bee. So I'm going to get him to pause a little bit here, I think. I'm going to insert a keyframe in there. Drag it forward a bit like that. And hovering. More, I think. That's it. And there, I'm going to change the size. Even smaller. To his end. So now if we look at that on full screen there, and I'm going to turn off the visual of the second guide layer, and I go all the way back. You can see now, see Buzzy Bees flying across a scene. Now you can add sound to this, obviously, and you could add many more bees. You could have 20 bees flying around this field. I've just shown you how to make that happen. You can then export that, okay, by exporting video media or movie. All right, so we'll go video media, and we'll go entire movie, export. And you should find that it opens up media encoder for you, and you can then export your outcome. So you can see it's coming up here, it's exporting it here. There's our little export. It's a nice little small file, but it will show the principle. Okay, and then if we look for that on our desktop, and we'll have a little look at the outcome of that. View it full screen. You can see my little Buzzy Bees.